I'm about to tell you something that goes against everything you believe about experience and success. After 4 decades in business, I've watched countless seasoned professionals launch ventures that should have succeeded. They had the knowledge. They had the connections. They had the capital. And yet, they failed spectacularly. Here's what nobody talks about. The very skills that made you successful for 40 years can become the exact reason your new venture crumbles. I know that sounds impossible. How can experience work against you? But stick with me, because understanding this could save you from making a devastating mistake. Let me share what I've learned watching senior entrepreneurs lose everything they built. This isn't about age. It's about something far more dangerous. Something that creeps up on successful people without them even noticing. The first major problem is what I call the expertise trap. You've spent decades mastering your field. You know your industry inside and out. Every decision you make comes from years of proven experience. This should be your greatest advantage, right? Wrong. Here's why this becomes your biggest weakness. When you've been successful doing things a certain way for 40 years, your brain creates deep neural pathways. These pathways make certain decisions automatic. You don't even think about them anymore. In your previous career, this was perfect. It made you efficient and reliable. But in a new venture, especially in today's rapidly changing markets, these automatic responses can be fatal. The world has changed dramatically in the past decade alone. Digital transformation has revolutionized how businesses operate. Customer expectations have shifted completely. Marketing channels that didn't exist 10 years ago now dominate the landscape. Yet senior entrepreneurs often approach new ventures using frameworks from a different era. They don't realize their expertise is outdated until it's too late. Let me give you a concrete example. I watched a brilliant executive with 35 years in retail launch an e-commerce business. He had every advantage you could imagine. Deep industry knowledge. Supplier relationships. Understanding of customer psychology. He invested $200,000 of his retirement savings. Within 18 months, the business was dead. What went wrong? He approached online retail like it was 1995. He built a beautiful website but ignored social media marketing. He focused on product quality while competitors focused on influencer partnerships. He invested in inventory while others used dropshipping. His expertise told him to do things the right way. But the right way had changed, and he couldn't see it. The second critical issue is what I call the delegation deficit. Throughout your career, you've had teams, assistants, departments, people who handled the details while you focused on strategy. This is how senior positions work. You make big decisions. Others execute them. It's a system that works beautifully in established organizations. But when you start a new venture, especially in the early stages, you are the team. You're the strategist, the executor, the marketer, the accountant, and the customer service representative. All at once. This isn't just about working harder. It's about doing tasks you haven't personally done in decades. Maybe ever. Many senior entrepreneurs underestimate this completely. They create brilliant strategies but can't execute them personally. They know what needs to happen but don't know how to make it happen themselves. They try to hire people immediately, burning through capital before revenue exists. Or they attempt to do everything but lack the technical skills required in modern business. I've seen executives who managed $100 million budgets struggle to set up a simple email marketing campaign. Not because they're incapable, but because they've never had to learn these tools. Their careers progressed beyond the need for hands-on technical work. Now suddenly, in their new venture, these skills are essential. And learning them at 60 feels overwhelming. The third problem runs even deeper. It's about identity and ego. After 40 years of success, you've built a certain image of yourself. You're the expert. The authority. The person others come to for answers. This identity feels good. It's earned. It's real. But it can destroy a new venture faster than anything else. Starting a business means becoming a beginner again. It means making mistakes, looking foolish, asking basic questions, admitting you don't know things. For someone who's been the smartest person in the room for decades, this is psychologically brutal. So what happens? They pretend. They make decisions based on assumed knowledge rather than admitting ignorance and learning. I watched a senior executive refuse to hire a young digital marketing consultant because he couldn't accept that someone 30 years his junior knew more about an essential business function. His ego cost him the business. He spent 6 months trying to figure out Facebook ads on his own, burning money on ineffective campaigns, while competitors who hired experts dominated the market. Here's the painful truth. Your ego, built over 40 years of legitimate success, can become the wall between you and the help you desperately need. You've spent your career being right. Now you need to spend time being wrong, learning, and adapting. Most senior entrepreneurs can't make this psychological shift. The fourth issue is capital mismanagement. This surprises people because senior entrepreneurs usually have more capital than younger ones. They've saved money. They have assets. They can invest properly in their ventures. But here's what I've observed. Having more money often leads to worse decisions, not better ones. When you have limited capital, you're forced to be scrappy. You test small. You validate before you invest. You find creative solutions. You move fast and adjust quickly. But when you have substantial savings, you tend to plan big. You want to launch properly. You invest in office space, inventory, equipment, and staff before proving the concept. You skip the messy learning phase and jump straight to scale. This is backwards. Every business, regardless of the founder's experience, needs to find product market fit. This process is messy. It requires rapid experimentation. Small tests. Quick failures. Constant adjustment. But senior entrepreneurs with capital often skip this phase. They build the business they envision rather than the business the market wants. I've seen people invest $50,000 in inventory before making a single sale. They were so confident in their product knowledge that they skipped validation. When the product didn't sell as expected, they were stuck with unsellable inventory and depleted capital. A younger entrepreneur with $5,000 would have tested with small batches, learned what customers actually wanted, and adjusted before committing serious money. The fifth problem is network mismatch. Your professional network is probably impressive. Decades of relationships. People who respect you. Connections that open doors. This seems like a massive advantage. And it can be. But it can also trap you in the wrong market with the wrong customers. Your network consists primarily of people like you. Similar age. Similar background. Similar preferences. If your new venture targets a different demographic, your network can actually mislead you. You'll get feedback from people who aren't your real customers. You'll make decisions based on what your peers think rather than what your actual market wants. I watched a senior entrepreneur launch a fitness app based on feedback from his golf club friends. They all said they'd use it. They all praised the features. He built exactly what they wanted. Then he launched to the broader market and discovered that actual fitness app users wanted something completely different. His network had given him confident, positive feedback that was totally wrong for his target market. The sixth critical issue is pace and urgency. After 40 years in business, you've learned patience. You understand that good things take time. You've seen projects that took years to pay off. This wisdom is valuable. But in a startup environment, this patience can be deadly. New ventures need speed. Markets change fast. Competitors move quickly. Customer preferences shift. You need to test, learn, and adapt rapidly. But senior entrepreneurs often move at corporate speed. They want to plan thoroughly. Research extensively. Make sure everything is perfect. By the time they're ready to launch, the opportunity has passed. I've seen people spend 6 months perfecting a business plan that should have taken 2 weeks. They wanted it comprehensive, professional, detailed. Meanwhile, younger competitors launched minimum viable products, learned from real customers, and iterated their way to success. The senior entrepreneur's plan was beautiful, but the market had moved on before they executed it. The seventh and perhaps most dangerous problem is financial pressure. Many senior entrepreneurs are launching ventures after leaving careers. They need income. They have retirement timelines. They can't afford to spend 3 years figuring things out. This pressure creates desperate decision-making. When you need the business to work financially, you make emotional decisions. You hold on to failing strategies too long because you need them to work. You ignore warning signs because you can't afford to start over. You push harder instead of stepping back to reassess. This desperation is visible to customers and investors. It repels the very success you are chasing. Younger entrepreneurs often have the luxury of time. They can work another job while building their venture. They can take 5 years to find success. But senior entrepreneurs often feel they're on a clock. This urgency, combined with financial need, creates a toxic decision-making environment. So what's the solution? How do you leverage 40 years of experience without falling into these traps? Let me share what actually works. First, commit to being a student again. Not just intellectually, but emotionally. You need to genuinely embrace not knowing. Hire people younger than you who have skills you lack. Listen to them. Actually implement their advice. Your experience is valuable, but only when combined with current knowledge and skills. Second, start smaller than you think you should. Use 10% of your available capital, not 50%. Test your concept thoroughly before scaling. Prove the market wants what you're offering before building the infrastructure. Your experience tells you to build properly from the start. Ignore that instinct. Build scrappy. Validate. Then scale. Third, find a co-founder or advisor who's currently successful in your target market, not someone from your generation who succeeded decades ago. Someone who's winning right now. Learn their methods. Adopt their tools. Let go of how things used to work. Fourth, set a clear financial boundary. Decide exactly how much you are willing to lose. Not how much you are willing to invest. How much you are willing to lose. When you hit that number, you stop. This removes the desperate decision-making that comes from sinking costs. Fifth, choose ventures that align with current trends, not past successes. Just because you were successful in manufacturing doesn't mean you should start a manufacturing business today. Look at where markets are moving. Find opportunities in growth sectors, even if they're outside your traditional expertise. The hard truth is this. Your 40 years of experience is both your greatest asset and your biggest liability. The key is knowing which parts to leverage and which parts to abandon. Most senior entrepreneurs get this backwards. They hold tight to outdated methods while ignoring the timeless principles that actually matter. What actually transfers from 40 years of experience? Understanding people. Reading situations. Staying calm under pressure. Building relationships. Maintaining integrity. These human skills are timeless. But your specific industry knowledge, your technical skills, your operational methods? Those probably need updating or replacing entirely. Here's my final piece of advice. Before starting your venture, spend 3 months as a customer in your target market. Not as an expert. As a customer. Buy from competitors. Use their products. Join their communities. See what actually works today. Let go of your assumptions about what should work. Learn what does work. Your dreams don't have to crumble. But they will if you build them using blueprints from a different era. The foundation of business success hasn't changed. Solve real problems. Create genuine value. Build trust with customers. But the methods for doing these things have transformed completely. 40 years of experience can absolutely lead to success. But only if you are willing to unlearn as much as you leverage. Only if you can be both the wise veteran and the humble beginner. That's the real secret. Not choosing between experience and adaptation, but mastering both simultaneously. The senior entrepreneurs who succeed aren't the ones with the most impressive resumes. They're the ones willing to start over. To learn new tools. To admit what they don't know. To move fast and break things. Your experience gives you wisdom. But wisdom means knowing when your knowledge is obsolete. So before you launch that venture, ask yourself honestly. Are you building the business that should work based on your experience? Or are you building the business that will work based on today's reality? Your answer to that question will determine everything. Choose wisely. Your dreams are depending on it.